Alexander Volkanovski and Movsar Evloev are driving themselves through punishing camps as UFC 333 approaches on October 24, 2026. Every round of training now has one purpose: arriving on fight night ready for a 5-round battle. Volkanovski is trying to show that he remains one of the elite forces at featherweight, while Evloev is preparing like an undefeated challenger who believes his time has finally arrived. Two world-class camps are building toward one enormous collision, but only one man can walk away with the victory. Volkanovski has made strength and explosiveness a major part of his preparation, attacking heavy lifting sessions designed to add power without sacrificing speed. At the same time, he is grinding through sharp pad work, tightening his combinations, reactions, timing, and movement. By the time October 24 arrives, fans could be looking at one of the most focused and physically prepared versions of the former champion we have seen. Demetrius Johnson believes Movsar Evloev has waited long enough for an opportunity against Alexander Volkanovski. But he also sees a dangerous obstacle standing directly in the undefeated contender's path. Johnson believes Volkanovski's speed, footwork, changing angles, and constant movement could make Evloev's night extremely difficult if the challenger cannot consistently get the fight to the mat. In Johnson's view, landing a takedown will not be enough, because Evloev must also find a way to keep Volkanovski pinned down and prevent him from scrambling back into open space. That is where the matchup becomes fascinating. If Evloev cannot establish sustained control, he may be forced to spend long stretches dealing with one of the most intelligent and mobile strikers in the division. Johnson essentially sees Volkanovski as the kind of opponent capable of testing every unanswered question in Evloev's game.
It's a great matchup. And then the main event, Movsar, undefeated, taking on Alex Volkanovski. It's about fucking time Movsar gets the opportunity to fight Volkanovski. I think Volkanovski tears him apart. I think he's gonna be too fast. Yeah. The angles, the inside. I just don't see. Movsar's gonna have to really get Alex Volkanovski to the ground.
And keeping Volkanovski down is exactly where Israel Adesanya sees the biggest issue for Movsar Evloev. Adesanya believes the former champion's physical strength, balance, and ability to escape difficult grappling positions could make prolonged control extremely hard to achieve. Volkanovski has already shown throughout his career that elite wrestlers and grapplers cannot simply put him on the floor and expect him to remain there. Adesanya pointed toward that proven defensive ability when questioning whether Evloev could maintain enough control to consistently win rounds. His prediction is especially harsh because he believes that if the wrestling does not become dominant early, Volkanovski could begin taking over everywhere else. Adesanya even suggested that Volk could overwhelm Evloev and potentially make a matchup that looks competitive on paper appear surprisingly one-sided once the fight begins.
I think, yeah, the size will play a factor because Volk is thick. He's a big boy. I don't see, yeah, you're right. I don't see how Movsar is going to hold him down for that long. I'm trying to think of Movsar as a striker as well, and his kicks, they're not like Usman or anything, so nah, I think Volk's gonna watch this one. He's gonna make this one look clean. Straight up, I think he is. Yeah, I think he is. He's gonna make it look clean. It's gonna be just yeah. But again, I'm biased. Don't ask me why. I'm biased.
Michael Bisping focuses on another weapon that has repeatedly made Alexander Volkanovski so frustrating to fight: his movement. According to Bisping, Volkanovski's footwork, positioning, and ability to constantly change where the engagement happens can leave opponents struggling to establish their own offense. Even at 37 years old, the conversation surrounding Volk cannot simply be reduced to age. His years of championship competition have given him an enormous amount of experience dealing with different styles, making adjustments between rounds, recognizing patterns, and staying disciplined under pressure. That experience could actually make him more difficult to solve, especially for a contender who has never faced this exact level of opposition. The challenge for Evloev is therefore bigger than simply landing takedowns. He has to crack the entire Volkanovski puzzle before the veteran's movement and decision-making begin making him look like just another challenger.
You know, where Volkanovski's shutting people out. And yeah, we all know about the footwork and stuff. But how old is he now?
He's got to be in
He's
his
getting up there.
36,
Yeah, he's getting up
37,
No,
you know?
Is he 36, 37?
Yeah, I thought he was older.
There
he
was,
was older
there,
than
there,
that.
there was the...
He's 37.
37. Oh, so he's still
37.
I mean, he's had a long career, but not just from mixed martial arts, but he also played rugby. So,
Yeah.
and I think he's taking care of his body.
Jorge Masvidal sees the matchup differently because he believes Movsar Evlov has legitimate tools to produce the upset. What interests Masvidal most is the development of Evlov's striking and how that improvement could make his wrestling considerably more dangerous. If Volkanovski can comfortably anticipate every level change, defending the takedowns becomes easier. But if Evlov can force respect with punches, entries, and combinations before changing levels, the former champion may have far more to process. Masvidal believes that mixture could create opportunities that a wrestling-only approach would never produce. Evlov does not necessarily need to outstrike Volkanovski in a pure kickboxing battle. He needs to make every phase of the fight connect to the next one, using pressure to disguise his attacks and keep Volk reacting. The unanswered question is whether that evolving skill set is enough to outwork one of the greatest featherweights the sport has ever seen.
Alexander Volkanovski taking on Movsar Evloev.
Yeah, man. ATT. We've been waiting on this one to get announced.
Waiting on
So y'all been sitting on this. Y'all knew.
And this
Y'all
guy,
know that. Y'all been sitting on this.
this guy's been in shape for a long time.
Yo, that dude looks like he's never eaten a cookie.
Never eaten a carb.
You might be right,
Yeah.
And he trains like it too. I mean, he's disciplined. Even when he has no fight in sight, he's at the gym.
Yeah.
He leaves back home where he's from in the Caucasus area, comes here, spends 5-6 weeks. Even when he has no fight, then the fight gets announced, he's already in shape when he gets into camp, Now, he's fighting, I think, one of the best 145ers, best mixed martial artists ever. But I think he could pull it off, man.
Oh yeah.
I think
Do you
Mozart
guys
could pull
think
it off.
is he because in his last fight he used wrestling later on in the fight, but in the beginning he was standing, and his stand-up looked way better than what everybody gives him.
Masvidal also points toward the physical advantages Evlov may carry into this fight: youth, non-stop pressure, and seemingly endless cardio. He describes the undefeated contender as the kind of fighter who can continue forcing exchanges long after most opponents would begin slowing down. That could become important if Volkanovski is pushed into the championship rounds. Still, Masvidal recognizes that Volk's striking operates at an entirely different level and has long been considered among the most sophisticated in MMA. Evlov therefore cannot allow the fight to settle into a comfortable striking rhythm where Volkanovski can read him, adjust, and begin controlling distance. His best route may be constant integration, punches into takedowns, takedown attempts into clinch pressure, then striking again when the opponent expects another shot. If he can maintain that exhausting style deep into the fight, the later rounds could become the moment when Volkanovski is finally forced to confront the physical consequences of being the older man.
And very hard to take down, bro.
Yeah, crazy hard to take down. I think he's gonna have to do a mixture of both, to tell you the truth. I don't think he's as good on the feet as Volkanovski. I think Volkanovski's one of the best on the feet ever to grace his sport. And the way that he just puts everything together. And if he's gonna beat him that day, he's gonna have to do both. Throw heavy shots,
Use that to set up
on the
takedowns.
legs, and more than anything, rely on the one thing he might have over Volk, which Volk, I've never seen him tired. I'm not saying that he gassed or nothing, but
Youth.
Mozart does have the youth and a third lung. Like you could ask Dustin, you could ask anybody seen this guy. He does not get tired.
Right.
He just does not. He'll keep the same pace. He'll go 85% of his ability the whole 5 rounds without missing a beat, and whether it's wrestling or striking. So I really think he has to lean into that and just get Volk's heart rate up there, make him feel every bit of the age,
And he also got this weird ability to find a way to capitalize on something, to steal around. Like when he fought Arnold Allen, boop, jabbed him, stole around, hurt him. Aljamain Sterling found a way to steal those rounds. Lerone Murphy found a way, the close rounds, found a way to steal those rounds.
That fight was pretty close.
It was close, man,
Yeah.
but Movsar, I don't know if it's his body language or just the intensity that he starts to put out when he realizes that it's getting close. And
Masvidal's argument becomes even more interesting when the fight turns exhausting, because Evlov has shown an unusual ability to accelerate when the pace becomes uncomfortable. Instead of fading when a matchup tightens, he can increase the pressure, attack another position, and suddenly seize momentum just as the other fighter begins losing clarity. That is the scenario supporters of Evlov are watching for. Volkanovski could still be winning technically, but if fatigue begins slowing his reactions late, the younger challenger may have another level available. Evlov tends to remain composed when exchanges become messy, And that mental stability matters when both fighters have already spent enormous amounts of energy. Dan Thomas believes those moments could become decisive, because if the fight reaches the stage where both men are exhausted, Evloev may be the fighter capable of producing one final surge and stealing the rounds that determine the result. He may simply have one more gear available.
Has like 5 gears, he's got like 6th and 7th gear. And when you're getting tired and it's like 3rd, 4th, and 5th round, you're getting a little foggy, he's staying clear put. Like I see him in the corner all the time. He's getting instructions. He's having full conversations with the coaches. They're bringing in 2, 3 different guys to wear him out, and his body language is not changing. So he's built for those moments. When both horses are tired, he's going to be the one to sprint it always at the end.
Even with those dangers, the overall analysis still gives Alexander Volkanovski a slight advantage because of his extraordinary fight IQ and his ability to control the structure of a bout. Volkanovski rarely approaches an opponent without understanding exactly where the biggest threats are located. Against Evloev, that means he knows the wrestling pressure cannot be ignored for even a moment. The veteran is too experienced and too strategically disciplined to treat this matchup like an ordinary striking contest. He will likely manage range, choose his exchanges carefully, and force Evloev to work for every entry. At the same time, nobody can dismiss the challenger's relentless wrestling because one poorly timed exchange could immediately become a prolonged grappling sequence. That tension will exist in every round. Still, when the complete skill sets are compared, Volkanovski's versatility, championship experience, and ability to make tactical adjustments give him the edge, especially if the contest moves into the later rounds.
Lean towards Volk on this one.
You are?
He's so smart. He's just so smart.
everywhere.
He's so well-rounded.
One of the best.
Like you were saying, he's a guy who knows how to win rounds.
Yeah, he's another, but he does it like in a strategic way. Like he'll get you to do, yeah. Like Mozart, you'll see him just kind of like turn it on, like you said. But
Put more gas out.
Volk will be like, all right, I'm gonna get you to go this way, then bing.
Yes, yeah,
and do something slick.
He's outthinking people on the feet for sure.
Making you make mistakes, making you make bad decisions. But as an older fighter, that's how you have to fight.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to outdo them. You're not going to outrun them. So I still don't know.
You got to set traps.
Yeah. You got to set them traps. So I guess it's a matter of can Mozart stay out of the traps?
Yeah, because Diego, when he fought Diego these last 2 times, he had to stay out of, the pocket really and not get hit with a big shot. That was probably where he was going to lose that fight. In this one, it's not so much that, it's the takedowns, right? Like he gets taken.
That brings Lucas Tracy to what may be the central question of the entire fight. Which man can consistently force the contest into his preferred territory? Evloev may be able to score takedowns, but Tracy doubts whether those takedowns will automatically translate into extended control. Volkanovski has spent years proving that getting him down and keeping him down are 2 completely different problems. If he repeatedly escapes and returns the fight to open space, every failed attempt begins carrying a cost for Evloev. Suddenly the challenger is spending energy wrestling without gaining enough control to secure the round, while Volkanovski is still landing cleaner strikes and using movement to dictate the exchanges. That is the danger Tracy sees. Evloev's ground game only becomes the deciding factor if he can make the control meaningful. If he cannot, the matchup begins shifting toward the exact areas where Volkanovski has historically been strongest.
I think the deciding factor of this fight is going to be who's the better striker and who's going to win on points. And since Movsar Evloev doesn't have a fraction of the finishing ability of Diego Lopez, whether that's on the ground or on the feet, he's going to have to win on points. And yeah, he may be able to mix it up and have a couple of takedowns in this fight, but there's no way he's holding Volk down. Not going to happen.
Lucas Tracy takes that argument even further by predicting that Volkanovski's pace could gradually become more damaging as the rounds pass. Evloev may spend enormous amounts of energy repeatedly trying to close distance, connect his hands, complete takedowns, and prevent Volk from escaping. If those sequences continue ending with Volkanovski scrambling free, every unsuccessful attempt could slowly drain the challenger. Tracy expects the consequences to become visible later in the fight. The explosive entries may lose speed, the control may become easier to break, and Evloev's defensive reactions on the feet could become slower after carrying that workload. That is when Volkanovski could begin turning the matchup into something much more punishing. Instead of simply defending wrestling, he could start forcing prolonged striking exchanges against a tired opponent. increasing the pressure and potentially searching for the finish once Evloev can no longer maintain his original pace.
Any kind of exchange where Mobzar is going to be exerting himself to hold Volk down or to have a dominant position on the ground, which is going to be damn near impossible, even if he does get a dominant position in round 1, it's going to get harder to do that as the fight goes on. It's going to get to the point to where it's damn near impossible for him to do that. And even thinking about doing that, you're going to be fully aware that you're going to expend a ton of energy. And if you fail a takedown, you've got 3 minutes where Volk is stalking you down. And it looks like Volkanovski against Makhachev in round 5 of their fight, where Volkanovski was really then starting to push that crazy pace and Makhachev looked to be getting tired. I think we see that a lot sooner in this fight. I think instead of Volkanovski starting to take over in round 5 like he did against Makhachev, it took him that long to really start to take over. Mobzar is smaller, he doesn't have the same strength, doesn't have the same submission threat, doesn't have the same power, doesn't have the same skill on the feet. I think we see that in round 3.
By the middle and later rounds, Tracy believes that energy battle could become especially severe. Movsar Evloev might begin the fight successfully enough, but absorbing damage while repeatedly investing in takedowns that do not produce lasting control could completely change his effectiveness by round 4. At that stage, the same wrestling sequences that looked dangerous early may become slower and easier for Volkanovski to read. Tracy expects the former champion to recognize that shift immediately. Experience matters most when a fighter can sense the exact moment an opponent is beginning to break, and Volkanovski has spent years competing in those high-pressure situations. If Evloev starts breathing heavier, shooting from greater distances, or becoming less disciplined with his entries, Volk could turn those mistakes into sustained offense. Tracy's prediction is that Volkanovski's pressure, conditioning, and championship experience would then allow him to control the most important minutes of the fight.
I think we're going to see an exhausted Movsar Evloev in the middle of this fight by at least round 4. And I think then Volk's really going to start to take over. That's my prediction, because Volk is super confident about this fight.
Tracy also believes Volkanovski has no interest in hearing explanations afterward, because he wants Evloev to arrive with the strongest possible version of his wrestling game. Rather than hoping the challenger abandons what made him successful, Volk appears prepared to invite that challenge and prove he can shut it down directly. The message is essentially this: do not change your identity because of the opponent standing across from you. Bring the pressure, attack the legs, chase the takedowns, and discover whether that approach can actually work for 5 rounds against Volkanovski. Tracy sees that confidence as significant because Volk believes the grappling exchanges will eventually lead back to his own strengths. If he keeps escaping, every reset forces Evloev into another striking sequence, another entry, and another expensive attempt. Volkanovski is effectively daring him to open his entire game because he believes he has already prepared the answers required to close it down.
He was talking about how I wanted to show everyone my striking and I wanted to make sure I was somewhat entertaining, and Volk was like, listen, no excuses. I want you to do your A game. Don't come at me trying to strike. I'm going to make you strike with me. I'm going to force you to strike with me. If you're confident in your grappling first and foremost, bring your A game with the grappling.
When Alexander Volkanovski and Movsar Evloev finally enter the octagon at UFC 333, both men will have built their entire camps around solving completely different problems. Volkanovski is sharpening his power, timing, speed, movement, defensive reactions, and elite fight IQ, while Evloev is strengthening the pressure, wrestling, conditioning, and developing striking that carried him into this opportunity. Demetrius Johnson, Israel Adesanya, Michael Bisping, and Lucas Tracy have all questioned whether Evloev can actually hold Volkanovski down long enough to control the fight. Jorge Masvidal, meanwhile, believes the younger contender's pace, wrestling, improving stand-up, and relentless cardio could drag the former champion into the kind of exhausting late-round battle where age finally matters. Tracy sees the opposite possibility. Once the takedowns stop producing results, Volkanovski's superior striking, experience, and tempo could begin tearing Evloev apart. That is what makes October 24 so compelling. This is experience against pressure, championship intelligence against undefeated ambition, and one of featherweight's greatest fighters against a contender trying to take his place. The predictions are already everywhere, and both camps are pushing toward the same moment. Will Evloev become the man who finally overwhelms Volkanovski? Or will Volk remind the division why solving him has remained one of MMA's hardest assignments? UFC 333 could reshape the featherweight hierarchy in one night. Volkanovski versus Evloev. No excuses, nowhere to hide, just war.